and paying attention to what is being taught over here. Today we are going to do lesson 4. Lesson 4, Maharashtra before the times of Maharashtra before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Okay. Now, in the previous class, what did we do? We did India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Right? What have we done? India before the. This is what's 7th standard. India before what we have done in our previous classes. India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Now, what we are going to do is Maharashtra. That is the state of Maharashtra before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. Now, India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj, what we did was about the invasion from the foreign people, be it your Afghanistan's Turks or Uzbekistan, the Mughal Empire, and the Greek Empire, which Greek did not enter, but the Mughals did. Then we had the British Empire. All those things we had learned in the previous chapter. Now we are going to start with Maharashtra before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. At the beginning of the 17th century CE, most of the territory in Maharashtra was under the control of Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar and Adil Shah of Bijapur. The Mughals had entered Khandesh. Their objective was to expand the power in the south. There were settlements of Siddhi people who had come from Africa along the coastline of Konkan. The competition and conflict among the Portuguese, the British, the French and the Dutch who had come from Europe was getting intense during this period. There was stiff competition amongst them to capture the markets for trade. See, now initially what we are talking about were the invasions by the sultans from Afghanistan or the Turks and everything. Then we had the Mughal Empire from Uzbekistan. Right. Now we had a new invasion, and finally the Mughals, they settled in India and they ruled for quite a long time. They ruled the country for quite a long time. And finally, towards the end of the Mughal era, that is after Aurangzeb, there was no such a strong Mughal ruler who could rule the empire a little more further. So after Aurangzeb, it started, the Mughal empire started deteriorating. What is deteriorating? Getting disintegrated or started weakening. I would say started weakening. Okay, but then after that, now these were the Middle East countries, we could say. Middle East Asian countries, we could say. After that, who started to come and again started for foreign invasion? They were from the European countries. They were from the European countries such as Portugal, Britain, the France, and the Denmark people. So the people from Portuguese, the people from Poland were called, Portugal, they were called as Portuguese. The people from Britain were called British. The people from France were called French. And the people from Denmark were called Dutch. Now, these were the people who started coming to India, in the form of, because if they say we are going to come comparing you and everything, there will be a lot of fight and everything. So, but they used the tactic of coming to the country as a trader, initially as the trader. And because there were so many people and they were all Europeans, they were quite smart, they were quite intelligent, they knew how to just think. So there was a very stiff competition as to who would trade with established the rule in Goa and Vasai on the western coastline. The Portuguese had already established their rule in Goa and Vasai on the western coastline. The British, the Dutch and the French had found an entry through the medium of trading companies by setting up factories. All these powers assessed the strength of the other powers, kept themselves safe and tried to dominate as much as possible. This conflict had created instability and insecurity in Maharashtra. These different people from Europe were called Tokar on the basis of their customary headgear. Okay, now like in the Portuguese they came via the sea near the coastlines of Goa, and if you see wherever the sea coast were there, Portuguese had entered from there and they settled over in Goa, and they had very nice grip on Goa. But these other countries like Britain, Dutch, and French, they all came from other various sources from which they could enter the country and started the trade. Okay. So they came, they established small industries, and they started dominating, I am better than you, I am better than you, that way, and started doing. So because of this, there was a lot of insecurity and instability in the country, especially in Maharashtra. And in Maharashtra, they were called as the Tokars. What are Tokars? Tokars are the headgears they used to wear. Like if you see Maharashtrian wears a typical kind of cap on their head, so that makes them they stand out from the rest of the country, saying that they are Maharashtrian. You can immediately figure out that they are Maharashtrians. Okay, so that is why they were called the Tokars on the basis of their customary headgear. So whichever headgear they used to wear, used to signify that these people are from Britain or from Denmark or from France or whichever country it is possible. It is necessary to get acquainted with the village, Moja, Kasba and Pargana to understand the nature of settlements in the period, as also of the officers that formed a link between the rulers and their subjects, and also the markets and the craftsmen. Pargana was made up of many villages. Generally, the headquarters of a Pargana was called Kasba. A village smaller than a Kasba was called Moja. Let us get acquainted in brief with village, Kasba and Pargana respectively. Now, what do we have over here? Listen very carefully. Now, it is necessary. So, how do we come to know that we have to, in this paragraph, we are going to get acquainted with village. Village is called as Moja, and that time it was called as Moja. Okay, and then we have Kasba, and then we have Pargana. Okay. Now, these are the various things which, these are the various things, and then we have city, town, and villages that way. Isn't it? We have a metro city, then we have a city, then we have metro cities, we have cities, then we have village, small villages and all. So that is how it is called. In those days, it was called as village, Moja, Kasba or Pargana. Now, let us get to know what. So, Pargana. I would go the other way. I guess Pargana is on the top. Okay, Pargana is on the top. So, what is a Pargana? Pargana was made up of many villages. Many villages. Then that was so wherever the head, wherever the head of the village was, it was called as Kasbah. So headquarters, the headquarters of, like we said, we have the headquarters of police station in Mumbai. Okay, that means all of Maharashtra, maybe the or the headquarters of a bank or headquarters, that is the main branch of the main office of a particular administration, that is called, wherever it was, that was called as Kasbah. So Kasbah was the headquarters of Padam. Okay. And then we have Moja. Then we have Moja. What is a Moja? A Moja is village smaller than Kasbah. Village smaller than Kasbah. So that is what it is, Moja or village. Okay. So let us get acquainted in brief with village, Kasbah and Pardana respectively. Now what is a village or a Moja? Most of the people lived in villages. A village was also called Moja. The chief of the village was the Patil. So whoever was the head of the village, you know what a village is? Village is basically, we say gaon, right? In India or in Hindi, we or Marathi also, you call a village as a gaon. So whoever the head of the village was, he was called as Patil. He was called as Patil. He used to try to bring maximum land under cultivation. So his main aim was to bring as much of land as, because in those few, this thing, the villages, the population was very less. Like how we have the population in today's time, where we and all complete jungles, all the land taken and jungles of this thing, we hardly have any space. But in those times, the population was very less and people had huge amount of land. So huge amount of land, and those lands were brought under cultivation. When there was any dispute in the village, the Patil resolved it and made peace. A Kulkarni helped the Patil in his work. The Kulkarni kept the record of the revenue that was collected. There were various artisans in the village. They had hereditary rights regarding their occupation. The peasants gave a share of their agricultural produce to the artisans for the services they rendered to the village community. This share was known as Baluta. Now you know what? Apart, like now in today's time, if you say the person who solves the disputes of the village, I don't know if you watch the movies and all, they show panchayat. Every village has a panchayat. Now it is term given to the Patil is panchayat. Maybe at that time it was one single person who must have been, everybody used to listen to him and all. So Patil is the head of the village who not only sees the running of overall of the whole village, but he used to see that everything is done and the judgment was also given. If there was any dispute means fight. If there was a fight between two people and all, he used to solve it. Like how we go in today's time, that if there is any dispute, we go to the Gram Panchayat in the village. The same way, they go to the Patil, and Patil used to solve that problem. Patil used to see that if the functioning of the village is very smooth. Then a Kulkarni. Who is a Kulkarni? We have, the second one is Kulkarni. See, a Okay, now we are doing about hand writing, so it's very clear to you. Now we have learned what a moja is, we have learned what a kasba is, and then we have learned what a organ is. Right. Now what we are going to do is, we'll take moja, village, we'll take village or a moja or moja. Okay. Now if we are taking here, we are talking about this, then we have the person Patil. We have Patil. Patil. Now who is the Patil? Patil is a person so under the village we have Patil. Who is the Patil? Patil is the overall you can say overall who sees, okay, who sees the overall running of the village. No, not running, I would say functioning of the village. We will not call it as running, we will call it as functioning of the village. Overall functioning of the village. Okay? Then we have Kulkarni. We have Kulkarni. Now who is a Kulkarni? Who is a Kulkarni? A Kulkarni is the person who maintains the record of the revenues. Now what is a revenue? You know, revenue is like the finance. Revenue is the finance. Finance is anything related to money. And everything related to money. Maybe a person who needs money, so the party might lend some money to that person to start its business or something like that. Or in need of, but saying like how the bank works. You know how the bank works? Yeah, if we need some money, we go to the bank, we get the money from the bank. They help us, when they are at our time of need, but we have to return back the money to the bank with some percentage interest or something like that, right? It is the same way the person who maintains. So maybe Kulkarni of that time must be the person who maintains the record of all the revenue or the finance, that what is taken, what is given, how much is taken, how much is given, to whom it is given, and whether that person has written. Maybe all that thing. So that is the person is called as Kulkarni. Okay. Then we have the artisans. The last one is we have artisans. Now who is artisans? Artisans are who work. Artisans who work and who do all the work, I should write. Who do all the work. Who do all the work. I mean, the rest, everyone, the village, the people who work are called the artisans. They may have here it is said that they had the hereditary rights regarding their occupation. You know what that means? It means that a person who works in for example, pottery maker, if the person is making potteries, then that means His whole family from generation to generation had the right to make only pottery. And then it could be agriculture. Suppose if that person is a farmer, then it is the heretical right of that person to farm the land. And the various works that each one, a person who would be making items like the everyday needs that we need. A tailor, suppose if he is a tailor, because that's a basic thing, we need clothes and also. So if he is a tailor, then it is his heretical right, to stitch from generation to generation that goes. So they have that right. And so now the farmers, what the farmers did, the peasants gave a share of their agriculture produce to the artisans for the service. So artisans were apart from the agricultural farmers. We will not consider farmers and artisans. We will consider every other work done by the people, like mending of the shoes. Those times they must be wearing the person who is making the shoes. Okay, so he is a cobbler. So that he is called an artisan. The one who is making pottery is called as potter or an artisan. The one who is making utensils, we need utensils to cook the food. So the one who is making, those people are every work other than what farmers do, that is farming, they are called the artisans. Okay. So these agriculture people, the farmer people, they did not know how to go about making shoes or stitching clothes or making potteries or whatever it is. So what they used to do is, they used to give certain amount of whatever, suppose if they have the rice or the agriculture wheat and all pulses, so they would give it to these people, and these people did not know how to farm. These people, they were very well versed in making pottery, they were very good at making clothes, they were very good at making shoes and everything, but they did not know how to farm. So it was that way. So there was an exchange of goods between these two. There was an exchange of goods, like you give us these goods, we will give you grains in return, whatever the grains or pulses in return for the things that we need, you give us. So that is called as barter system. That is called as, so the exchange of goods. Okay, I will write it over here. The exchange of goods is called as the barter system. And I don't know if in my previous class you have read about barter system. It is the exchange of goods. Barter system is the exchange of goods. Okay? Exchange of goods. So that's how they used to exchange and get the thing. So now we have learned about village or Moja, and we had Patil, then we had Kulkanis, and then we had the artisans. Now we are going to learn about Kasba. We are going to learn about Kasba. We are going to learn about Kasba. A Kasba was like a big village. It was usually the headquarters of a Pargana. Example, Indapur, Kasba of Indapur, Pargana. While Kasba of Pargana were the headquarters of those Parganas. Agriculture was the main occupation. There were skilled artisans like carpenters, blacksmiths, etc. in a Kasba. There was usually a market paid adjacent to a Kasba. The Shete and Mahajan were the watandas of the paid. Every village did not necessarily have a paid. The setting up of a paid was the job of the Shetis and the Mahajans. For that, they received some land from the government and some rights from the villagers. The Mahajan maintained the accounts of the paid. See, now what is Kasba? Now Kasba was like a big village. First we had the village. We had very few people living in a far off places, not that far off places, but very few. As I said, the population in a village used to be very, very less. Now, Kasbah. So, Kasbah was like a headquarter of that. It is the headquarter of the village. See, headquarters of the village. Okay. Now here, how they are giving an example is Indapur. So Indapur is the Kasbah of Indapur Pradhan. So Indapur, if you say, if you are talking about the Kasbah of, and then they have given Y as a Kasbah of Y Pradhana. So they have given the example of Indapur, which is the Kasbah of the Indapur village, and then Y would be the Y Kasbah would be the Kasbah of the Y village. Agriculture was the main occupation, because definitely in village it is always the agriculture. There were skilled artisans also, but in Kasbah, so Kasbah was a place where it is little bit further off the thing, and where they could, it's kind of a small town, we can call it as. Kasbah could also be called as a town. Could be always also be called as a town. Okay, if you like, if you go, so we can say Kasbah is also like a town, and in town we had lot of artisans, like they have said. There were skilled artisans like carpenters, blacksmiths, as I said, making furnitures, blacksmith making all those iron metal things, tables and chairs. They are called as blacksmith. Anyone doing with the iron work, ironsmiths and blacksmiths. Okay, they all kind of got together in one particular this thing. If you go, like, have you ever been to the campsite or to the Nanapet side? You have all those Nanapet, Ravivar Pet and everything. So they're like, settled over there. So if you go to the Ravivar Pet or the what is that called as, the other name given to Ravivar Pet is the Boregali. You have in each gully they have one particular thing. Like in one lane, gully is lane. So in that one lane you will find only clothes. The other one it will be the thing. So we will continue in the next class as to what proper